Hello. So I've got the lovely Rebecca Newenham from GetAhead VA, which is an outsourcing agency remotely supporting business owners throughout the UK. And Rebecca came to one of my vision board workshops back in January 2019. And I would just love to talk to Rebecca a little bit about the journey from creating a vision board through to very exciting that she's just actually published her first book, which is called Virtually Yours. So we're just going to have a quick chat about really that whole process. So firstly, Rebecca, could we just have a little look at your vision board from back in January 2019?
It's a bit screwed up now, but this was my board from, like you said, January 2019. And the area we're going to talk about today is this bit, which says, want to become a writer. With a nice
brilliant. And just to take you back to that vision board workshop, did you come to the vision board workshop knowing that you wanted to write a book?
No, I very much came with a very open mind. I remember you saying it works best if you just sort of come and almost present yourself to opportunity. And I'm not a person, but I was quite interested in how that process came about. I'd always, for example, wanted and craved to be in, say, a Women and Home magazine or in a glossy. And then actually what came out of the session with you, I found that I want to be a writer. And I thought, actually, yes, I do. And it was interesting how that sort of process evolved, but your workshop enabled me to sort of identify key things that were important to me, and that very much sort of shone out for me.
Yeah.
Side of the board.
Okay, brilliant. And what process did you go through to get from obviously a vision board and then through to now just publishing a book?
So that was back in the January, and then I think I spent a couple of months just sort of processing the board. And I remember you saying that as well. Some things you race home and try and achieve that night, and other things sort of take a while to sort of slowly process. So thought about it, and then observed somebody on LinkedIn actually that had published a book, and she was talking about a book coach that she'd worked with. And I've had coaching, you know, I've been running my business for the last 10 years. I've had coaching for the last 8 of those. So I know I respond really well to coaching. So I thought, oh, that would be an interesting thing to explore. So my book coach is called Alexa Whitten. I spoke to Alexa. She sent me a copy of her book, and that was all about how to become a writer. And I realized equally, I didn't want to follow that book myself and do the process, but I needed to understand what was involved in the process. And the upshot of that was then signing up on one of her programs and working with her from start to finish, which even included getting the books published, which was amazing. So I knew I'd be looked after and supported at each different stage.
Okay. And how long did the whole process actually take from you starting to write a book?
So again, it's a very personal one. So obviously depending on how long the book is, but for me, it was just over a year. I think I had monthly coaching. We started off setting out, and I suppose the big thing for me was, was anyone going to be interested in a book I had to write? So we did that whole process, which took a while of really honing into what I wanted it to be. And for me, it's always been a business book, something that I can use within my sort of marketing machine for promoting the franchise of my business. So I became very clear quite quickly on what I wanted to achieve from it. And Alexa, it was her skill at helping me get that idea out of my head onto paper and tweaking it so that actually we always had the reader in mind, because that's another big thing, isn't it? I think you can
totally.
And I do find myself almost apologising recently, saying, "Well, I have self-published it. You know, it's not. I haven't got a publishing contract." And like someone told me off for that. So they said, "You know, it's a huge achievement to even written one. Doesn't matter how it gets published."
Yeah, it's amazing.
That's I want to sort of share that with your listeners as well about that, because actually, a lot of you have got a book in you. It doesn't matter how the end result happens. It's more about just actually doing it.
Yeah, and that was going to be my next question: is sort of keeping motivated. How did you keep yourself motivated writing it?
Well, I remember speaking to you about saying I was getting a bit frustrated about where I was getting my energy in my writing, and we talked about other locations that I could go to, and I'm not very good in loud environments. So I think you mentioned the library, and actually one of my daughters was doing volunteering there. So I thought, oh, perfect, so it kills 2 birds with 1 stone. So she went off and did the volunteering, and I had an hour every Friday to sit, and I wrote it by hand. And I thought that was an interesting observation. I am quite creative and I'm quite visual. So again, for people listening to thinking how to write, I know I've been speaking to a friend of mine who's writing part of hers manually by hand and then typing some. But for me, it was generally, I wrote it all in rough, as I would have said at school, and then transferred that onto my Mac and sort of worked it that way.
Great. And how did you come up with the idea of the name?
Oh, I know. So we are a virtual agency. I was sort of playing around that, but actually I remember Alexa saying quite early on, look around Waterstones, go to your local bookshop and just see what titles appeal to you. And I quite like that short shot. So ours is virtually yours, and then I've got a sort of a longer strap line. So weirdly, I've observed as well that lots of people are always interested. If you say, I'm writing a book, it's sort of certain people sort of came out of the woodwork to say, oh, I'd love to proofread it, or I'd love to help you. And actually a lovely coaching friend of mine, Desiree Anderson, said, oh, she'd love to come up with some ideas on title. And she did, and it was amazing. And as she said, virtually yours, and it just immediately, I knew it was the right one. I wanted something quite punchy that fitted within the industry that we're in. So it sat really nicely like that.
That's amazing. And I really, really love the design, which is totally on brand, and your branding is wonderful. Tell me about the design.
So Kate Sargent's one of my designers. She even designed my wedding invitations when she was 16, a long time ago. She's now a mum of 3. And so she very much got what I was wanting. And we were laughing because her first design was a messy desk. I said, oh, no, I need it to be, it needs to represent the journey that someone will go through. And the end result of reading my book is that you'd be running your own business, be flexible and enjoying sitting on a gorgeous armchair with your computer, wearing a leopard print dress. So Kate came up with some options and it was perfect. So we've got the one on the armchair, and then we've got another one at the back sitting on a sofa, just to sort of give that.
Oh, I love that.
And then I've got my Jiffy bags, and I've even got an address label, because it's all those touch points.
Brilliant, all those little touches.
Yes.
And with Jerry behind you as well.
Oh, yeah, there's Jerry. So Jerry features in the book, and I was saying to you earlier, Lara, we've got some exercises in here to do. And again, if you're thinking about it, try and sort of think about imaginative ways, and that's where Alexa was really good as well, of sort of saying, let's engage the reader at different touch points, so they aren't just sitting reading it in one sort of go. And I've also got some case studies of some of my team to sort of demonstrate real life sort of possibilities then, so it does help.
Brilliant. Yeah, lovely, thank you. And lastly, what advice would you give to others who may want to write a book or think that they've got a book inside them?
Yeah, I would acknowledge that fact, then perhaps do a little bit of research, look at what other people have done on your theme of your book, go and enjoy looking around Waterstones. Just I think when you suddenly have your eyes open to things, you suddenly notice different scenarios, don't you? So just go looking at books, seeing what other things are out there, and then if you work like I do really well with a coach, someone like Alexa would be a lovely person just to have a chat with. And she's got her own book out, Publish Your Way to More Clients, so that might be a time for you to think about doing. So I can easily link people up with her, so no problem.
That's wonderful. It's been fantastic talking to you.
Yeah. No, but you've been a real, and as you know, you get a mention in my book.
I do. Thank you so much.
You've been a real inspirer, and you kept me going. And I think when you're writing something like that, you need to have your cheerleaders and your people that you can sort of be real with. And you've always been that to me. So
and I've got huge admiration for you, having had the idea and now published it. It's amazing.
Thank you, Dan. I'll be popping one.
Well done, you.
Thank
Fantastic. You've done all the hard work.
Woohoo! Yes.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.